All right, hey Kipsters. So last night you had your life work to help prepare you for your writing star. Today we now have 3 school days before your writing star, so it's about time to really focus. And yesterday we talked about getting gritty, so this is part of it. We're going to do this hard work now so that we can succeed on test day and just in general become better writers. All right, so it says directions: read the following quotation, then read the prompt that follows and complete the writing activity. It says, the 2 most engaging powers of an author are to make new things familiar, familiar things new, by William Makepeace Thackeray. The prompt says, write an essay that compares and contrasts 2 familiar people or things. As Thackeray suggests, you have the power to consider your subjects in a new or different way. Explore alternative ways of viewing your subject as you compare and contrast them. Now write your essay. Use the reminders that follow to help you write. It says reminders: be sure your writing does what the prompt asks. Clearly state the people or things being compared and contrasted. Include a focused thesis statement, so that's your main idea. All right. Discuss similarities and differences between the subjects, support key ideas with evidence, and check for correct grammar, spelling, and punctuation. These reminders are pretty much the things that we talked about yesterday to guarantee that we're going to get a score point of 4 on our essay. All right. So one of the strategies that I learned from your wonderful writing teacher was, when getting ready to write my essay, I need to kind of lay out or map out what I want to do. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the prompt. In the prompt here, there's a simple question, and this is all I'm going to focus on. It says, write an essay that compares and contrasts 2 familiar people or things. So here below, I'm going to write the prompt. Write an essay that compares and contrasts 2 familiar people or things. All right, so then after I look at the prompt, so write an essay that compares and contrasts 2 familiar people or things, I'm going to create a question version of it. Okay, so let's see. Write an essay that compares and contrasts 2 familiar people or things. So compare and contrast is to find the similarities and differences. So what are some similarities and differences between 2 familiar people or things? So what are similarities and differences between 2 familiar people or things? So now I've made it a question. All right, so this prompt is asking me to think of 2 things that are familiar and compare and contrast them. I'm thinking that we in Ms. Abwim's class have been talking about food and nutritious food and like good things to eat. And so I know that in the beginning of reading Omnivore's Dilemma, we were talking about like organic fruit and industrial organic fruit. So I'm gonna brainstorm So let's think of apples. You guys know I always talk about apples. So industrial fruit and organic fruit. So similarities and differences. So if I look at, I'm just going to do IF versus OF. If I'm thinking of apples, an industrial fruit is one that has been genetically modified. Meaning that they like change the different parts of it, right? It's not necessarily just an apple seed that goes into it just to make sure that they're perfect. And then organic fruit is fruit that grows naturally. Okay, grows naturally. Let's see, genetically modified. Let's see, industrial fruit grows faster. Grows slowly. Grows slowly. Similarities. Oh, this one is cheaper. This one is more expensive. Similarities, they taste the same. You can use them the same. Okay. So this is my little brainstorm. All right, so then helps. Helps is something that's another strategy that Mrs. Newton taught me. So it's historical experience, literature, pop culture, and sports. Now, because I've already decided that I'm going to be focusing on industrial fruit and organic fruit, I can talk about historically, maybe my personal experience, literature, maybe the Omnivore's Dilemma book that I read. Not too sure at pop culture. Maybe like pop culture is talking about healthy food. And then sports, now Mrs. Newton said that you don't have to pick all of them, but you should pick a minimum of 2. Okay, so I'm gonna say historically, say organic fruit and how it was grown. I'm remembering George Naylor from the book. My experience eating apples, so when I'm talking about similarities, they taste the same. And even to make it like really good, I'm going to like quote things from Omnivore's Dilemma. And I hope you're listening to what I'm saying, because this is all going to end up looking like jibber jabber. All right, it's going to look like my favorite person to talk about their handwriting, Nathaniel's handwriting. Or who else has really messy handwriting? Maybe even Gabby, her handwriting. All right, so thesis. thesis is the main idea. Now, I want to make sure that I'm answering this question, what are some similarities and differences between two familiar people or things? I'm going to be focusing on industrial fruit and organic fruit, but to make it more specific, to make it a specific thing, my main idea is to compare and contrast industrial fruit to organic fruit. Okay? Compare and contrast industrial fruit to organic fruit. And I'm specifically going to be looking at apples. Okay, so when I start talking, I'll be talking about apples. And this is how you do this. All right, so then after this, I should be able to break down my paper and find my intro, my thesis, which is my main idea, my body paragraph, one, body paragraph, two, and then my conclusion. Conclusion. All right, so my intro, I'm gonna try to make my reader interested in what I'm about to say. My thesis is that, even though all apples or all fruits at the store may look the same, they're really different because some of them are industrial fruit and some of them are organic fruit. All right. Body paragraph 1, I might talk about how fruit used to grow, like historically, and talk about like George Naylor and his ancestors and how they used to grow fruit, and then talk about how now scientists have been able to figure out how to make fruit grow using genetically modified organisms. Body paragraph 2, I could talk about the price of genetically modified fruit and the price of organic fruit and why they're different. And then my conclusion could go back to my main ideas that even though genetically modified fruit and organic fruit look the same, or industrial fruit and organic fruit look the same, they taste totally different, and maybe we should pay attention to what we're eating and how it affects us. All right, so these are just some rough ideas. I wanted to make sure that you guys are practicing this. So again, when looking at your paper, you're going to look at the prompt. Okay, you're going to look at the prompt. You are going to brainstorm. You're going to use helps, and you're going to find the thesis. Now I'm going to do this one more time. Honestly, I'm learning this as well with you guys. And again, our aim is to try to do better and really improve in these next 3 days so that we can get the highest score possible on the STAR test. And also just in general, become a better writer. All right. You guys have a great day. And at this point, you should be typing your essay into your computer. And I also need to see this outline or this map out on your actual life work paper. If you forgot your life work paper, you need to get another sheet of paper and redo this. So rewrite the prompt and also the map out. All right, good luck. And if you need help, raise your hand. Bye, you guys.